There are veils that conceal and veils that reveal. Just as the sun hides behind clouds and yet continues to shine, so too can the soul be hidden from the gaze of evil, while its light remains radiant in the realm of goodness. You have asked how to become invisible to evil. Understand this: the path is not of running, but of transforming. Not of hiding the body, but of unveiling the spirit's protection. Let us walk this path together. Evil, as it appears to the eye of the unaware, seems vast, looming, and sovereign, but this is only the illusion cast by the absence of light, not the presence of power. Just as a shadow stretches itself long when the sun is low, evil grows only when the light of awareness dims in the soul. It has no essence of its own, no breath of life independent of what we feed into it. What people call evil is merely imbalance, desire that has forgotten its source, ego that has forgotten its limits, perception that has forgotten the one behind appearances. It thrives not by force, but by invitation, subtle, slow, often unseen. Its dominion lies not in its strength, but in your forgetfulness of your own light. Understand that evil cannot recognize what it cannot reach. It is blind to hearts that are not reflective of its own nature. When you carry hatred, resentment, greed, arrogance, these become hooks by which evil latches on. It finds a scent, a resonance, and follows it like a hunter tracking prey. But if your heart is empty of these, it passes you by, as wind passes through the leaves of a tree too tall to be touched. The world around you may rage with storms, but if you carry no storm within, there is nothing for the thunder to strike. There was once a traveler who passed through a village burned by war. The scent of death was in the air. The walls whispered of betrayal, of brothers turning on brothers. And yet, this man walked untouched, unshaken, as if covered in a cloak unseen. He did not lower his gaze in fear, nor raise his voice in challenge. He simply moved as one who carried no weight of self. Those who saw him could not see him fully. To them, he was like smoke, present but ungraspable. What protected him was not a shield of metal or strength of arm, but the absence of that which evil seeks. He bore no hatred, no desire for vengeance, no pride to provoke. To become invisible to evil, you must release the parts of yourself that attract it, not in denial or suppression, but through deep transformation. Let the flame of presence consume the thorns of ego. Let remembrance drain the poison of desire. Let the mirror of your soul reflect only what is real, so that the illusion passes over you without finding a home. Evil clings only to those who offer it a resting place. Be like clear water. Nothing can grasp you, and yet you nourish all. Be like light. When you enter, darkness vanishes, and not by force, but by being what it cannot imitate. There is no need to fight evil. That would be to acknowledge it as equal. Simply know it, and then become what it cannot approach. Know its limits and surpass them, not by running, but by becoming still. Not by hiding, but by remembering who you truly are. For the one who walks in truth is already hidden. Hidden in plain sight, where no darkness dares to look. The heart is not merely flesh beating within the chest. It is a sanctuary, a mirror, a throne upon which the real may reside. When it is clean, it becomes a vessel of light, a reflection so pure that only truth can be seen within it. But when it is stained with heedlessness, covered in dust from worldly desires, false intentions, and hidden resentments, it becomes a mirror that reflects nothing but shadow. Evil cannot approach a heart that has no echo of itself within. It looks and finds nothing to grasp, no familiar scent, no resting place. For the eye of evil sees only through the lens of illusion. It seeks pride, anger, greed, jealousy. If these do not live in you, then you are invisible to it. To purify the heart is not a single act, but a way of living. It begins with intention, the secret root of all action. Before you act, look inward. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? For whose sake is this deed? If the answer points to vanity, to recognition, to the gathering of praise, then know that you have placed a mark upon yourself, a signal evil may recognize. But if the answer is rooted in sincerity, in love, in the desire to serve the one, then the action becomes light, and light does not carry scent. Guard your tongue, for it is the rope that draws what lives in the heart out into the world. Do not speak unless your words serve the moment, and do not disguise poison with sugar. The heart becomes diseased not only by what it consumes, but also by what it gives. Every word is a seed. Plant only what you wish to see bloom in eternity. And then, deeper still, beyond the tongue, beyond action, lies the quiet world of thought. Here hypocrisy is born, where the face smiles but the heart curses. Purification requires honesty in this secret place, for what lives in your thoughts, though hidden from people, is never hidden from what walks in the unseen. Abandon the need to appear good and become truly clean. Let your heart be so pure that even in solitude, you would not fear being unveiled. There was a man who lived with such serenity that even the tyrant envied him. Soldiers were sent to humiliate him, to provoke his peace. They spat venom with words, hoping to stir anger or fear. But the man only smiled gently, reciting the names of the divine as though wrapping himself in light. Their curses dropped to the ground, powerless and empty, like arrows shot at the sky. Frustrated, the tyrant asked, "Why does nothing touch him?" And the wise replied, "He has no hooks. Evil cannot climb what it cannot grasp. So cleanse your heart, polish it with remembrance, rinse it in sincerity. Let no malice, no hidden hunger remain within. For when your heart becomes a pure mirror, evil looks upon it and sees only itself, lost, confused, and without power. Let your purity be your veil. Let truth be your invisibility. Let the heart reflect only the real, and the unreal will pass by, as though you were never there at all. Presence is not merely being in a place, it is being fully aware of who holds the place, who governs the breath that moves within it, and who witnesses all things, seen and unseen. True presence is not the body standing still while the mind runs wild. It is not lips reciting names while the heart is in another world. It is not the outward performance of ritual while the soul remains asleep. True presence is the state of remembering that every moment is seen, every thought is heard, and every intention is weighed before the one who needs no witness but himself. To enter this state is to walk with the most near, even in the most distant of lands. It is to carry the awareness of the divine not just in prayer, but in eating, speaking, resting, rising, working, and even in silence. When you lift your hand to eat, remember who provides. When you take a step, recall who allows your limbs to move. When you are alone, speak to your Lord as if you see him. Not because you pretend, but because it is the truth. There is no veil between you and the real, except the veil of your own forgetfulness. To live in this state is not to become more visible, but to become hidden. Hidden not from people, but from the eyes that seek to harm. For the one who walks in divine presence is not recognized by those who walk in darkness. The gaze of evil cannot rest upon a soul absorbed in remembrance, because there is no ego for it to find, no fear for it to taste, no arrogance for it to feed upon. You do not need to run from evil when you are not visible to it. And you are not visible when yourself has dissolved into the awareness of the one who sees all things. Even the world of science, which often touches only the surface of things, has begun to understand what the saints and lovers of God have long known. When a person enters a state of deep presence, fear loses its grip, the body settles, the heart slows, the mind becomes still. A Harvard study once showed that meditative focus, true intentional awareness, reduces stress hormones by over 30%. But this is not just calmness, it is concealment. A soul at rest is a soul that does not attract the restless. Even among wolves, the one who does not flinch does not bleed. This is not merely for the mystic or the scholar. This is for anyone who remembers, truly remembers. The farmer tilling his land, the mother holding her child, the worker walking to his trade. All can live in this state if the heart remains open, alert, and surrendered. And when that heart is awake, it becomes a fortress. Not a fortress built of stone, but one built of nearness, of awareness, of love. Remain in his company, and nothing false can follow you there. Be present, and presence will protect you. Compassion is not the frailty of the weak, but the armor of the strong. It is the unseen cloak that shields the soul from the grasp of evil, a force so powerful that cruelty itself is blinded in its presence. The heart that beats with mercy moves through this world like the wind, unseen, unfettered, and untouched by the harshness it passes through. Cruelty knows its own reflection and seeks out its kind. Violence recognizes its kin in the trembling of fear and anger. But mercy is a light so pure, so vast, it blinds the eyes that seek to harm. The soul wrapped in compassion becomes invisible, not by hiding, but by transcending the realm in which evil operates. Do not mistake softness for weakness. A blade may be sharp, but it is fragile, liable to snap under pressure. The sky, however, cannot be broken. It stretches wide and enduring, holding the vastness of light and shadow alike. So too, compassion is strength, an enduring force that outlasts and outshines cruelty. It is the power that refuses to be diminished by the darkness, the fire that cannot be extinguished by the cold of hatred. To wear this cloak of mercy is to practice generosity without recognition. Each day, give quietly. Offer a coin to a stranger who needs it. Whisper a kind word to a soul in pain. Send a prayer for one you do not know. Do not let your ego witness these deeds. This secret generosity nurtures a hidden flame within, a light that grows invisible to the darkness because it harbors no pride, no desire for acclaim. It is the light of humility and love, which no shadow can touch. There was once a woman who cared for a neighbor who had spoken ill of her, who had cast words like stones. Yet she tended to her with tenderness, feeding her, dressing her wounds, offering kindness without expectation. When a fire swept through their homes, destroying all in its path, only the room where she prayed remained untouched. When asked how she was saved, she said simply, "I asked only that God make me like water, flowing where needed, touching all without harm." This water, like mercy, gentle yet unstoppable, carried her through the flames, invisible to destruction. Compassion does not seek recognition or reward. It exists beyond the realm of transactions and debts. It is a force that dissolves the barriers between hearts, rendering the one who carries it unseen to evil's sight. Evil cannot grasp mercy, for mercy belongs to a higher kingdom where no enmity holds sway. Like a shadow fleeing from the sun, evil turns away from those wrapped in compassion, unable to endure its pure light. Let your heart be this sanctuary of mercy. Let your actions be the silent streams that nurture life without expectation. Cloak yourself in this divine attribute, and you will move through the world unseen by the forces that seek to harm. You will become a being of light, a presence that cannot be touched by darkness, a soul invisible to evil because you have become the mercy that blinds it. Gratitude is a veil woven not from mere words, but from the very fabric of the soul's alignment with the eternal light. It is not simply the act of giving thanks when ease visits, but the profound declaration of faith that even in the darkest cave, the light remains. To wear gratitude is to declare, without hesitation or complaint, "I see the light." Even when all senses are overwhelmed by shadow, it is the soul's courage, its affirmation of presence amidst absence, its choice to anchor in hope even when the storm rages. Those who carry gratitude within them move through the world protected, not because they wield swords or shields, but because their hearts call no storms to gather. Complaints, murmurs of bitterness, and cries of despair summon forces unseen, forces that gather where pain remains unspoken and sorrow festers in silence. When you give thanks, even for the trial itself, you dissolve the soil where these forces take root. Gratitude is the garden where resilience blooms, where despair finds no sanctuary, and where the darkness cannot dwell. Science, in its unfolding, has begun to glimpse what the wise have always known. Studies reveal that gratitude reshapes the brain, rewiring the pathways of pain, lifting the weight of depression, and strengthening the soul's capacity to endure. This is not a mere comfort, but a transformation. A mind entrenched in thankfulness becomes a fortress. It repels the invisible poisons that prey on weakness and vulnerability. To the evil that lurks in the cracks of despair, the grateful heart is a fortress of light, impenetrable and serene. In every breath, in every moment, repeat the sacred phrase, Alhamdulillah. When joy surrounds you, say it with a heart full of delight. When sorrow presses close, say it with a voice steady in surrender. When confusion clouds your mind, say it with unwavering trust. This is not denial of hardship, nor is it a turning away from pain. It is direction, a turning towards the light that neither fades nor falters. Imagine a traveler walking through a dark valley. The path is uncertain, the shadows deep, but the traveler's face is turned always toward the dawn. With each step, the light behind guides and protects. The darkness cannot overtake the one who does not walk with eyes fixed on the night, but on the promise of the morning. This is the essence of gratitude, an invisible armor that cloaks the soul in light even when the body walks through night. To be invisible to evil is to carry this light within, to let your soul always face the radiant truth beyond the veil of appearances. It is to walk through life not as a victim of circumstance, but as a witness to the enduring mercy that sustains all things. Wear gratitude as your armor, and you become unseen by the darkness, untouchable by the forces that seek to consume. In gratitude, find your refuge, and in that refuge, know peace that no evil can disturb. The company we keep is not merely a matter of choice, but a shaping force that molds the very essence of our being. We become reflections of those whose presence we allow close to our hearts and minds. Walk with the anxious, and fear will find a home within you, whispering doubts and stirring unrest where peace might have blossomed. Sit long with the bitter, and their poison will seep into your spirit, staining your thoughts and dimming your light. But walk with the grateful, the present, the pure-hearted, and you will find your own soul beginning to shine, illuminated by their reflected light. It is not enough to seek only the learned or the eloquent, for knowledge alone does not guarantee illumination. True protection lies in the company of those whose hearts kindle remembrance, those who call you back to the divine not just through words, but through the silent language of presence. These are the ones whose very being becomes a living prayer, whose quiet gaze reminds you of the unseen, whose footsteps echo with mercy and truth. They are the living gardens where the soul's thirst is quenched and where darkness dares not linger. In this age, even the invisible threads of online circles of remembrance hold power. Gather in these virtual gardens of the heart and listen not only to intellect, but to lived experience, to souls who have walked the path of hardship and grace alike. Their words carry a warmth that no cold logic can imitate. Their stories are windows into the realms where the divine speaks most clearly. Do not hesitate to visit those who suffer, the sick, the poor, the forgotten, for in serving them, you enter a sacred space where angels rest their wings. Evil recoils from these places, unable to penetrate the love and compassion that flow there. The protection you seek, the invisibility you desire, is found not in isolation but in union with those who have already disappeared into the light, who walk wrapped in mercy, gratitude, and presence. Their company becomes a shield, a sanctuary that holds you safe from the shadows. In their presence, your heart remembers its true home and your steps become lighter, carried not by fear but by trust. Consider how the moon borrows its light from the sun. Alone, it is but a cold orb, yet in the sun's company it shines brilliantly, casting away the night's darkness. So too, you must walk among the people of light, drawing strength, warmth, and guidance from their radiance. In this way, your soul becomes a beacon that no evil can extinguish, a flame that burns clear even when the winds of hardship blow fierce. To be invisible to evil is to immerse yourself in the light of those who have surrendered to truth and love. Walk with them, listen to their silence, follow their example, and you will find that darkness no longer has power over you. Instead, you become a living testament to the mercy and light that dwell beyond the veil. Beloved seeker, understand that to become invisible to evil is not to vanish into the shadows, nor to run from the world's trials, but rather to rise above them, to ascend into a realm where the very forces of darkness lose their grip and fade like mist before the dawn. Invisibility here is not a retreat, it is elevation, a transformation of the self so profound that the eyes of harm and malice cannot behold you, not because you hide, but because you have become hidden within the infinite presence of the One who sustains all things. You are never truly lost, you have only forgotten your true dwelling. The journey toward invisibility is a return, a homecoming to the source of all light and being. When you have cleansed your heart until it reflects only truth, you become a mirror polished by the divine. This mirror no longer reflects the shadows that surround it, but only the luminous reality beyond illusion. Evil approaches, searching for a foothold, a crack in your armor, but finds only a blinding radiance that repels and confounds. To live in divine presence is to walk continuously in the company of the all-seeing. It is to carry within you the awareness that you are never alone, that each breath you take is witnessed by the eternal, and each step is guided by infinite wisdom. This presence is a shield far stronger than any sword. It is the fortress of the soul where no enemy may enter. It is a living light that transforms your being, and by its glow, all falsehood dissolves into nothingness. Compassion wraps you like a cloak woven of mercy, a garment so weightless and vast that cruelty cannot grasp it. It is through mercy that you become like the wind, passing through the harshness of the world untouched, unmarked. Your gratitude becomes the energy that sustains this invisible armor, the song of your soul that proclaims, even amidst trials, that the light endures. It is this gratitude that rewires your heart to resist despair and to dwell firmly in the realm of resilience and hope. And in the company of the people of light, your soul finds reflection and strength. Their presence nourishes your spirit, their remembrance of the divine awakens yours, and together you become a sanctuary where darkness cannot enter. Like stars clustered in the night sky, you shine brighter through their unity, each light reinforcing the other's glow. So, beloved seeker, do not strive to hide as if in fear, but seek to be hidden in Him, the shelter beyond all shelters, the secret place where only the real remains. In this sacred concealment, you are not lost but found, not diminished but glorified. Here, the false can no longer see you, not because you have disappeared, but because you have returned to the source, to the origin of your being, to the divine presence that was always with you and always will be. Walk in this truth, live in this light, and know that to be truly invisible is to be truly revealed in Him.